Well, hello, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today is our final review day before the test tomorrow, and I've got another review worksheet for us to do. Now, at the top, I want you to put just a few notes on here of the things that I want you to know. Some of you are on your computer looking at pictures of maybe the Kansas basketball team or something. Not appropriate. So right now I need everyone to close their monitors and listen to my wonderful and very exciting review before the test tomorrow. And then if there is time at the end, we can discuss anything that you would like to discuss. But this is important. The first thing that we didn't talk about yesterday but will be on the test tomorrow is when to use which measure. If they say choose the best measure of center for your data, that's a good thing because you can look at the numbers and you don't have to find the mean, median, and mode. You just have to find the one that's the best. Now, usually you're going to choose between the mean and the median. You got it? So you're going to choose between the mean and the median. You use the mean when there is no outlier. So when you have a data set and there is no outlier, you use the mean. Okay? Now, if you have an outlier, and you all know what an outlier is, it's either a really, really large number or a really, really small number compared to the rest of the data set. If you have an outlier, you use the median. So when do you use the median? With outlier. All right. So let's say that we're looking at this data set here. And I tell you to choose the best measure of center. Looking at this data set, does it have an outlier? Yes, it does. This is the outlier, right? 599. Since it has an outlier, are you going to use a mean or are you going to use the median? It has an outlier. So which one are you going to use? The median. That's right. So for this problem, if they want the best measure of center for this one is median. Okay? Any questions about that? In fact, they don't even ask you to find the mean in that one, do they? Now, can you remember that for the test tomorrow? I think you can. Now, let's go ahead and answer question 1. Everyone, thumbs up. You all know how to do the range, right? It's 599 minus 132, and you get 467, right? Good. Now, the next thing says, find the median and the first and third quartile. Okay, so the median is our middle number. The median, let's see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to have two middle numbers. What do I do when I have two middle numbers? Add and divide by 2, right? So I'm going to add 251 plus 277. 528 divided by 2. Did you get 264 for your median? Yeah. And always check, is 264 in between those two numbers? Yes. Sometimes, kids, I'll have someone that'll give me an answer like 1022. It's like, why did you put that down? That's not in between those numbers. So always double check. Now, we have to find our middle number for the bottom and the middle, which is Q1. So we look at this group of numbers, and yep, since there are two of them, that one goes there. Our middle number is what? 191. So Q1, 191, and then I have my Q3, which will include, it'll be what, 334? Q3, 334. Any questions on that? All right, interquartile range. It will be Q3 minus your Q1. So in this problem, 334 minus 191. Borrow. You can use a calculator on this. And it's 143. Interquartile range is 143. Now, name any outliers in the data. What was our outlier that we said was very obvious? 599. It's much larger. Some people might have said that 448 would also be an outlier. Definitely 599. Any questions on that? Thumbs up? All pretty good at this? I see a couple thumbs up, and I see some that didn't. That's better. Okay, now let's look at number 2. In number 2, are there any outliers in number 2? No. So since there's not an outlier, which would be the best measure of center? Mean. So for this one, if you wanted the best measure of center, you would use the mean. Okay? Now, on this problem, they are really working more about interquartile range and those types of things. As we said, there were no outliers. So for letter D, any outliers? No. Now the range of the data, here you're going to have 9 89/100 minus 1 49/100. And you get what, 8 40/100 or 8 4/10? Any questions on that? Okay, the median, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to have 2 of them again. Add those 2 together, divide by 2. Did you get 2.745? What did you get? Here, just get this one. Did anyone get 2.745? Okay, good. It looks like it would fit. 2.745 is the median. Now, for this, I'll use these 2 middle numbers. Now remember, if you missed it on your quiz, a lot of you didn't put your numbers in order correctly. The interquartile range, or the Q1, these are the 2 middle numbers for this. Let me identify. This is the lower quartile here, and these are the 2 middle numbers. Add them together and divide by 2. Did you get 1.805? All right, so Q1 is 1.805, and yeah, that's in between those 2. And for my upper quartile, I'm going to use this group of numbers here. These are my 2 middle numbers. So add those 2 together and divide by 2. It's going to be important to have a calculator tomorrow, won't it? To make sure you use your time wisely. Did you get 7.785? Yeah. Yep, that's in between these 2 numbers, 7.785. 7.785. Now, my interquartile range is this number, Q3, minus Q1. So, 7.785 minus 1 805,000 will give us the answer. Once again, you can use a calculator on this if you want to. And you get the answer 5.98 or 980. Any questions on that? Okay. I'm going to walk around the room and see how you're doing, and then we'll do some more problems. All right, in problem number 3, I just now read it, and it wants measures of variation, not measures of center. Now, there's a difference there, isn't there? Measures of variation are range, and what's the other one? IQR, interquartile range. Those are measures of variation. Remember, measures of center, let's just write these down here at the bottom. What are measures of center, kids? Measures of center are the M words, mean, median, and mode. You got it? Measures of variation are range and interquartile range. All right, so let's answer the range for this problem here. For week 1, okay, I'm going to do range down here. I've made a chart over here. This is week 1, mean, median, mode, range, and then we have to also find IQR. Week 2, and then I've got one that we're going to add, and we're going to take the outlier out of the one that has the outlier. Okay, so in week 1, our range is, what's the highest amount? Is it 86? 86, and what's our smallest amount? 67, right? So for the range for week 1, 86 minus 67, and that will give you the answer of 19. Any questions on the range of 19? Now, for week 2, it's going to be a little different. We have 137 minus 49, right? So the range, 137 minus 49 will give us, let's see, that'll be an 8. 12 minus 4 is also an 8. Wow, that's quite a difference, isn't it? This one has an outlier, doesn't it? Week 2 has an outlier. An outlier greatly affects the range. Okay, it greatly affects the range. Okay, now let's go and figure out our interquartile range. Well, to do that, we have to put these in order from little to big. And so let's just do that here. It's going to be 67. Then it'll be 72, 78, 84, and 86. So, this is my median. Here, my Q1, halfway between a 67 and a 72. When I add those two together and divide it by 2, I am going to get 67 plus 72 divided by 2 gives you 69.5. And my Q3, I just have only 2 numbers. That one's pretty easy. It's going to be what? 85? Yeah. So my IQR is 85 minus 69.5, which is what? That's not right. 85 minus 69.5. Did you get 15.5? So my interquartile range on this one is 15.5. Any questions on that? Now for the next one, my smallest is 49. Then it is 75, 79. Then it's 86 and 137. 86 and 137. That's a comma there. Okay, my middle number is 79. Now I have to find the number that's halfway between these two. So let's add those together. 79 plus, or 75 plus 49 divided by 2. That's not right. $62. That's my Q1. And for this one, 86 plus 137. Oh, 111.1 or 111.5. Ooh, this is going to be a big one, isn't it? Notice how when you have an outlier, it greatly affects your measures of variation. So 115 or 111.5 minus 62, 49.5. Wow. It greatly affects the range, doesn't it? That's going to be something you're going to see on the test tomorrow. It'll ask you things like, how does an outlier affect different things? It greatly affects the range, doesn't it? It greatly affects the interquartile range. I think those are the words that it's going to be using on it. It's a drop down on the test, and that's a little confusing, okay? So I just want you to know that. Now, if you take the outlier out of this situation, so for this one, if we take the outlier out, then we're going to have the numbers 49, 75, 79, and 86, right? So here you will have, if you take out the 137, halfway between 75 and 79 will give you 77. And then halfway between 49 and 75 that is 62. And then halfway between 79 and 86 will give you 82.5. Now look at what's going to happen to our IQR. 82.5 minus 62 equals 20.5. Look at how when we take that outlier out, it goes down drastically, doesn't it? So do you see how the range is greatly affected by an outlier? Okay, very nice. Now, another thing you're going to see on the test is how does an outlier affect the mean, the median, and the mode. This is one we didn't talk about much yesterday at all. An outlier can affect the mean this way. These are the words that are going to be on the test. It's going to be similar to this. Can an outlier make your mean larger? Yes, it can, if the outlier is a big number, right? Can the outlier make your mean smaller? Yes. If it's a little number like a 1 or a 2, yes. So so the outlier, I think what it'll be is you either choose all that's true, or there'll be one that'll say, can an outlier make your mean smaller or larger? So that could be, I'm going to look at it and see, but an outlier can make your mean higher if the outlier is a big number, right? It can make the mean smaller if it's a small number, okay? And I think it might be where you click on all that apply. I haven't seen the test for tomorrow, but I just want you to know an outlier can make your mean go up. It can also make your mean go down if it's a small number. You got it? Now, does an outlier affect your median very much? Maybe just a tiny bit, but it might make it go only by a little bit. All right, it might make it go up by 1 or down by 1, right? Will an outlier affect your mode? No. Usually an outlier will never affect the mode. What is the mode? The number that occurs the most. Right. In this list, we don't have any modes, do we? They all occur. So here there are no modes in week 1, week 2, and the outlier won't affect it. Okay? Now, we know that the median for week 1 is 78. We know the median for week 2 is 79. And the median for without the outlier is, I didn't do that, 75. Oh, it is 70, what did I say it was? 70, halfway between 75 and 79. What did you say? Is it 77? Yeah, it's 77. All right. So it did affect the median just a little bit. If you look at these two with the outlier and without the outlier, it affected the median just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to look at the mean of this. And for the mean, week 1, you have to add them together, and we're going to divide by what? For the mean, we're going to add these all together and divide by 5. So here we go on that problem. So let's add them together. Did you get a sum of 387? So I'm going to have 387 divided by 5. And I get 77.4. Okay? Now, there's no outlier in this one, so you're going to use the mean for week 1, right? No outlier. Don't close your books. I still have you for 3 more minutes, so, or 2 now, so don't close anything. I'm still giving you answers. Week 2's mean, now look at this one. You add these all together, 79 plus 86 plus 75 plus 49 plus 137 divided by 5, I get 426. Divided by 5, 85.2. Now, I'm going to take the outlier out. I'm going to take out 137. Okay, so 426 minus 137 gives me 289. So 289, and what am I going to divide it by? Not by 5 because I'm taking it out. I'm going to divide it by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at what our mean is going to be. 289 divided by 4 gives you 72.25. Look, it greatly affects that. It changes it. It makes this one now is more like week 1, isn't it? See how the outlier is? Now, sit down. Your assignment for tonight is do the back paper. Now, are you going to have to do the mean, median, mode, and range? Sit down. No, you don't have to do it for all of them. It says choose the best. If there's an outlier, do the median. If there's not an outlier, do the mean. Any questions? You don't have to do all of it for it. Have a good day.